Hello again, everyone. Saka here, and welcome back to another episode of American Truck Simulator. And when we last left off, we ended up in Fort Collins, Colorado, and we are here at the local Walmart picking up a double here. Let me show you where we are going to go today. We were in Colorado Springs, not Fort Collins. What am I talking about? We are going up towards Fort Collins and making a right on Highway 76. After Denver and heading up to Sterling today. So the northeastern corner of Colorado should be a nice trip, 201 miles. Let's go ahead and get back in the cabin, get ourselves ready to go, and let's roll. Now this delivery wasn't originally going to be a double, but you know, I like the money. So it sort of set us up for a place that isn't meant to hold a double, but we are doing just fine. And once we get out on the open road, everything will be awesome. And here we go, out of the gates. The Wallbird is kind of at the end of the road. As you can see, it's really the only place that you can go. But luckily we were able to find a place in the city limits and not at that mine that we dropped the hauler hull off. And hopefully we'll be able to get onto the highway nice and quick and roll on out of here. Hey, green light, we'll take it. Nice. So, welcome back to American Truck Simulator Colorado DLC. If you've tuned in to the first few episodes, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying the series, sitting back and relaxing while I do the driving. It's been a good week for me, and a good week as far as games are concerned, because as I recorded this, Empire of Sin just came out today. You may have seen it on my channel already, as this will come out the week after release, but it's an XCOM style strategy game set in the 30s of Chicago in the Prohibition era. Think Al Capone and the Mafia, all that good stuff. So it'll be interesting to get into that game. If you watched episode 0, the tutorial, let me know your thoughts on that video for sure. I hope to continue making some decent series, and my strategy side has been a little light as far as my games are concerned. As far as the sim side goes, we're still doing American Truck Sim here and enjoying Microsoft Flight Simulator. And I saw that Microsoft Flight Simulator's VR update is going to come in December, at the very end of December, right before Christmas time. So really looking forward to getting some time off work in order to do that. Yeah, we missed our green, but we are in no real big rush. But looking forward to VR. I also caught the Epic Game Store giveaway of Elite Dangerous, and I'm a big space fan. I like space games for sure. I played X4 quite a bit. Oh geez, did someone hit my, someone hit my trailer. Good job there, blue truck. Yeah, we're kind of blocking the road, but I mean, he didn't have to hit me. We could probably roll up just a little bit and try to help him sort his life out. But we aren't going to take we're not going to take a fine on his behalf. He's just going to have to figure it out. But Elite Dangerous is one of those games that really is good to sit back, relax, and it is surprisingly good in VR. I read some Steam reviews. People saying that after they played it in VR, they can't go back to a standard monitor. And I mean, it is pretty good. I'm not going to lie. And I'm sort of in that camp as well, that when I'm in the mood to play Elite Dangerous, it's well worth pulling out the Oculus Rift and getting nice and immersed. It's just incredible what developers can do with VR when the game is meant to be played in VR. Like when they start development, they have VR specifically in mind. This game is not, but, well, they did add Oculus support, and I did play with it a little bit. But I wasn't too keen on it, although I did have, back then, an older computer that really couldn't handle VR well. Since I played American Truck Sim with the Oculus, I've improved quite a bit. So I would be interested to go back to American Truck Sim. I like the Euro Truck Simulator experience as far as VR is concerned. You really get a sense of how big these trucks are when you're sitting in the driver's seat looking over to your right. It feels like the passenger would be sitting forever and a day away from you. And that's what I like about VR for sure, is just you get an appreciation of the scale, whether it is the machine that you're sitting in or the surrounding landscape. You really get the sense of depth and scale if the game is done well. And Elite Dangerous is definitely done well as far as the scale is concerned and everything. And I imagine Microsoft Flight Simulator will be the same way. I played a little bit of X-Plane 11 in VR, and I actually used the Oculus Touch. And I'm hoping that Microsoft Flight Sim sort of follows that same idea, that you can manipulate everything in the cockpit with Oculus Touch, so I don't have to plug in my flight stick. I could do throttle and maneuvering the aircraft with the actual things in the cockpit, the yoke and the throttle quadrant. Now, one thing I don't have would be the rudder pedals. That would be a little bit iffy to try to adjust rudder. Holy crap, we're really slowing down. I guess we're going back through Denver. That's why we're slowing down here. But yeah, aside from the rudders, you know, that would be really cool. I may end up plugging in the flight stick anyway, just to have some rudder control. Holy crap, everyone is getting on over. We shall as well. Yeah, it looks like a broken down truck with a lot of front end damage. It looked like a sort of a Ram. Kind of had those Beam-In G look to it, where you just hit a concrete barrier and just watch that that corner just collapse upon itself. And speaking of collapsing upon itself, I don't know if you're a racing fan or not, but even if you're not, you probably saw the big crash. It would have been a week or two ago at this point that you're watching this, but Roman Grosjean's hit. That was just incredible. The guardrail gave way, the car split in half in the Formula One race, I should say. And it was just, you know, a sight that if you're a racing fan, you just can't get out of your head quickly. It's kind of like the Ryan Newman crash at Daytona earlier this year. To kick off 2020, you know, just having his entire driver's compartment pushed in is one of those frightening things. You just get a pit in your stomach and you're thinking the worst. So to see Roman hop out of that race car was just nuts indeed. And are you gonna make sure that I don't make the right turn? Yes, you are. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. We're 2 hours and 17 minutes away. If it recalculates and we lose a ton of time, we're just gonna cut through. Ain't nobody got time for that. 4 hours? Nah, we're going up the hill. Charge! Power! Nope, no need to calculate a new route. We're going. Yeah, it's almost like I should turn those things off. It's like cool for immersion that you run into things that you can't control, but when the game, like on purpose, looks at your route and says, we're gonna throw a roadblock there and we're gonna add an hour and a half to your time, nah. Not all about that life. Got things to do. But sun is coming up and we must be heading east, that's for sure. And it's always good to see the sunrise in this game, just with the sheer lighting and the graphics and everything. It really sets the mood. Once we get up to 65 here, we should be hauling the mail just 2 hours away. Go ahead and head on up to top gear and set the cruise. So a nice look on the outside. We've got a long load, it says, which we kind of do. That's a... Is that a full-size trailer on our back, or is that just a little bit smaller? It seems kind of small. But carrying that double, that way we don't have to worry about parking too much once we get to our destination. So we are in a brand new territory on Interstate 76, not Fallout 76, thankfully. Oh, parking. I thought that was like a big old... a wreck, like a salvage yard or something, but no, just a bunch of cars. Although I guess if it was a Walmart, that could qualify as a salvage yard, but yeah, kind of like a prairie sort of feel over here. Like if you showed me a screenshot of this, I wouldn't have said Colorado. It's kind of got like that Nebraska sort of feel to it with all the brown grass. And I could see why they would put those burn orders out. We're passing Wiggins. That's an interesting name. Haven't heard of Wiggins, Colorado. Gas and food. As long as there's no way station, we might get lucky and avoid the wait. Both literally and figuratively. Goodrich and Wiggins. Wonder if it's GM Goodrich. Yeah, it's crazy. Look at, like, thinking about how all these cities got their names. I'm sure there's a massive science, like, or a sect of research that could go into why all of the towns are named the way they are. But we're coming up to, looks sort of like an industrial area over here. We'll be bypassing it at 75 miles an hour. What do we got there? No magic, just science. Hey, we're talking about science. Yeah, those are holding tanks. I don't know if that's oil or some sort of refinery. And like massive silos there as well. It might be a, what is that, an ethanol plant perhaps? Oh no. Well, get ready to stop. I'm just going to go ahead and roll off the cruise control now because, yeah, that's what I thought. So we'll be pulling over shortly. Throw on the engine brake here. Passing a comms tower. Yeah, speaking of comms, it was also earlier this week that big old radar dish in Puerto Rico finally fell apart. It was the one that they showed off in GoldenEye, sort of in the hills, in the middle of the forest, in the middle of nowhere. Had that hanging apparatus in the center of it, held on by cable, and you know, in the Army I was a comms guy. I put up antennas, so I know about guy wire degradation, and I'm sure those steel cables that held up that satellite dish were much stronger than the guy cables that I use for my 15-meter mast, but still, you know, it's crazy. When those things snap, they can do a lot of damage, and just so much energy just gets released in a microsecond. Just snap. Reminds me of that scene from Ghost Ship. I don't know if you remember Ghost Ship, but it was a terrible movie from the early 2000s, and there were the captain was killed by a cable that like snapped on the ship before, as it was going down or before it went down, what have you, and just like clean cut right through the captain's gut. And it was one of those things where the torso stayed on the legs for a few moments, and you're like, what happened? And then you see blood, and it's like, oh, that's not good. Creepy stuff, for sure. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. But movies about ghosts are okay. So what are we coming up to now? Sterling and Holyoke? Holyoke. It ain't on the map, but Sterling is. So we'll be making the right turn here. And I always wonder, are these exits accurate? Like these mile markers? So on the real Highway 76, is exit 125 Sterling and Holyoke? Probably Google Map it, but to be honest, I'm going to forget all about it when this recording's over and not pay it a second mind. Yeah, we got, like, it feels like Wild West out here, like middle of nowhere, last chance to fill up for several hundred miles. I know Wyoming has several of those places. All right, clear on the left, on the right. Looks like we're clear by one lane. We'll just take the near lane here and let traffic go on by. Now, I don't know if we're going to need to be in the right lane, so we're going to preemptively move on over. So this is Sterling, is it? We should get our notification on our achievement shortly. Oh, that's a cool little sign. Rest Area Tourist Info Center. And there is Sterling. And is that named after jewelry or mining, like ounces sterling, something like that? It's kind of got that vibe. A lot of hills, a lot of mines in the area, I would assume, and pound sterling or whatever would make sense. What doesn't make sense is this weird old route we're going to have to take. It looks like we're going to be driving past our turn and then making a left and maybe going downhill past the AutoZone sign. I need to see if there is another Real World Brands mod out there. 4 out of 13, there we go. But Real World Brands brings that extra air of, really? Holy crap, they caught me quick. I wonder if that was a speed camera. Are there speed cameras in Sterling? Or was it just a police officer who happened to be at that garage way down there and spotted me? He's like, hey ho, I got you up there. All right, let's see if we can roll this. Nope, not this one. I don't trust it. We're going to go all the way down just in case there is no left turn we can make right there. Looks like we would have been okay. But we'll go the actual route distance, because it knows better than I do where overpasses are and one-way streets. Perhaps that was a one-way that we couldn't go down, which would have been a tad bit awkward. But here we are in Sterling. We've got Jerry's Hunting Hut. Yeah, I imagine the big game hunting out here would be pretty good. Mike's Bistro. Then we got for lease, a pawn shop, a delicatessen, and now hiring. Don't know what company that is that they need employees for. How weird would that be to say, I just need a job. I don't know what this place is, and I don't care what it is. I need a job, so hire me. Historic Sterling, and I imagine that may have been a mural of what the town was all about. Pawn shops everywhere. This is like a military post. Got laundry, got pawn shops. Are there payday loan places around here? All right, left turn, Clyde. Now this part of town isn't bad. Perhaps that's the city courthouse. Could be. It's very similar to the courthouse I have in my hometown. Very small, and right in the center of a big grass field is a pretty large building, one of the biggest in the city, and it's like, yep, that's the courthouse. All right, drivers are bringing in the money, always good to see. Hopefully the 5 drivers that we hired are doing better. I haven't looked in the logbook to see if they're bleeding me dry. But thankfully I have a ton of good drivers that can make up the difference. But yeah, if those drivers aren't pulling their weight, it'd be time to hire some better ones. And yeah, it feels like we're on the industrial end of town and we're heading to the farmer's barn. I wonder what real world company that is, or even if that's based off of a real world company. But it looks like a lot of elevators, a lot of silos. Please no train. That would be really inconvenient. All right, left turn. Right in. And we should be able to pull straight in, it looks like. Yeah, we'll just go through this elevator here. Get it nice and straight as possible, and the day is still young. We made good time here, so in the next episode of American Truck, we'll be leaving from Sterling and hopefully seeing another city in Colorado. Just checking them off as we go along. Come on now. Easy does it. Booyah. Park her up. And that is how we do that. 201 miles, 4.5 hours, only 50 gallons used in the tank, 10 grand. But it's not about the experience or the money. It is all about sightseeing Colorado. So as I said in the before we drop the trailer off, we'll be leaving from Sterling. Hopefully there are a lot of jobs here that we can partake in. And hopefully they will be heading to a town that we haven't seen yet. But that will do it for me in this episode of American Truck. Short, sweet, to the point. Like, share, and subscribe if you are so bold. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next American Truck Sim video. Take care.